So Cherie asked how we got to be friends. Well, in the 90s, we were professors together at Princeton. We didn't know each other very well, but we did know each other. We were together in some faculty seminars. Carol, you were probably with us over in the Center for Human Values in those days. We had some wonderful faculty seminars, usually about questions of philosophy, political theory, history. Although we didn't know each other very well, and I was the lonely conservative in the crowd. Carol hadn't yet outed herself, I think, or maybe come I noticed something about this brother right here. While he usually got the answers wrong, he was asking all the right questions. Nobody else could get the questions right. And I grew up in the hills of West Virginia. Even I had enough sense to realize if you're going to get the right answers, you got to get the right questions first. So Cornel was 3/4 of the way there, asking exactly the right questions when other people were missing them. So I learned to admire him for his intellect. I later came to know him not only as a man of great intellect, but a man of enormous integrity. So I have great moral admiration for my brother as well.
Because I begin with my brother, who I have a deep love for. And love is in no way reducible to politics. I fight with tremendous tenacity for his right to be wrong. And not only that, but we overlap in significant ways, not just in terms of our common humanity, our common love of ideas, the fact that we try to be true to the prophetic legacy of Jerusalem and the Socratic legacy of Athens. The latter, self-criticism, self-scrutiny, that intellectual humility, intellectual integrity. And yet at the same time, we know Socrates never cries, he never sheds a tear. Jesus weeps. Something deeper is going on. Not just love of wisdom in the abstract, but love of mama, daddy, grandmama, granddaddy. Jesus weeps because he loves so. Not just love of wisdom, he loves other human beings and all of their fleshiness and fallenness. And for Brother Robbie and I, we believe in the fusion of this tradition. The best of Socrates, the best of Jesus. Now, of course, Jesus never laughs. And Robbie and I laugh a lot.
So I'd like to ask both of you how you navigate that and what your view of the concept of civility is.
That's a wonderful question, because civility's never been one of my favorite words. It really hasn't. It goes back to citizen, and I take that term very seriously. No democracy without citizens. You remember Aristotle's definition of a democracy. A citizen is capable of being ruled or ruled. So there's always a rotation of rule. That's what democracy is about. And accountability of those who rule. But the reason why I've always been a little suspicious of it, because, see, as a revolutionary Christian, I'm concerned about the moral and spiritual work that a word does. And civility for me has always been too thin. You see, I want citizens who try to be kind to one another, gentle to one another, sweet to one another. And kind and gentle and sweet cut at a different register for me than civility. And hence you get critiques of civility. Oh, you're just hiding, it's a charade. You're just wearing a mask, you're not really being yourself. You're simply putting on a certain kind of show. Whereas when you're really kind, it's got to be for real, or it's just not the real thing. If you're really sweet, people can make, see, we're not talking about polite. Polite is more on the civility side. I'm talking about real kindness, sweetness, tenderness. You know, Otis Redding said, try a little tenderness. I mean, that's not try a little civility. So that So that Robbie and we've never really been civil to one another. You know what I mean? I love the brother. He's kind, he's sweet, he's gentle, and he's honest. So when you're honest with somebody, you get upset with them when you think they're wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
So today, too often, if we use the term civility, people will interpret it in the way Cornel was explaining. It's a very thin kind of a concept. In fact, people might say being civil is when you sit there listening politely, politeness again, politely, while another person expresses a view. Well, you're being tolerant, you're letting the person, you're not interrupting, you're not calling the person names, you're not grabbing a lamp and smacking them over the head with it or anything like that. So you're listening, but you're being civil, but you're not engaging that person. With the rich meaning of civility, what civility should mean and what it used to mean is not that you're sitting there politely letting him talk. It means you're listening seriously to what he has to say. You're considering maybe there might be some truth in it. You're considering that maybe his critique of your view could have some merit. You're trying to hear it in the most favorable light to give it the benefit of the doubt, to see whether you could learn something from it. I'd like to tell you the following truth about everybody in this room, and everybody in this town, everybody in this country, and everybody on this globe. Here's something interesting about all of us. Now you tell me if I'm wrong. Every single one of us currently has, right there sitting in his or her head, some false beliefs. I do, I have some. He does, sure he does, you do. So you say, well, then why don't you change them? It's because you don't know which ones they are. Everything you believe is true, but if I ask you, do you have no false belief? Are you sure? Do you really think you have no false belief? You'd say no. Of course, I know I'm wrong about some things because I have the experience of changing my mind. And I know that that won't be the last time I change my minds about things. Now, since we know some of the beliefs we have are false, and probably not just the trivial and superficial ones, but beliefs about important matters, if we know some of what we believe is false, how are we going to get that changed? How are we going to reduce the number of false beliefs and increase the number of true beliefs? I can only think of one really good way. By listening to arguments being made by people or evidence being presented by people who see it differently than you do. And that's not a matter of just sitting quietly and letting him talk. I have to listen to him, to listen to you. I have to be willing to really seriously consider that maybe you're right about this and I'm wrong about this, or I have something to learn at least.
That's true. And in fact, to make sure that you, my dear brother, make sure you never cancel. Make sure your voice is never just dismissed as if it doesn't have moral content, intellectual quality, and so forth and so on, you see. And so that's one of the commitments to a sense of morality and spirituality that cuts across the grain before you even get into the nitty-gritty. And the nitty-gritty are some of the very concrete disagreements you have. Because we've got some issues out there that are very, very intense. And there's going to be, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to reach some kind of agreement. Well, that's how life is. I mean, there's always going to be liberals, conservatives, left wing, right wing, and so forth. That's who we are as a species. So we decide either to be a jazz orchestra and lift your voice and hope that somehow they can be brought together in such a way that we don't kill each other, or just authoritarian, despotic, and that's de-escalating force we begin with. That's nihilistic. That's just power in its economic, military, and political forms across the board. And that would mean we couldn't have these dialogues like this between he and I. No, not in the neo-fascist America. You couldn't have these kind of dialogue. We would have been drawn off the stage a long time ago. This brother's critique of Donald Trump would have sent him to jail. And he's a conservative, yeah, but he's a conservative who has a disagreement with a president in the White House. And if there was a full-blown neo-fascism, he's going to jail. I'm going with him As a revolutionary Christian with my progressive politics, I'm going with the brother too. We sing in there. We bring Brother Stanley with us. We bring Brother Stanley with us, singing, Stan singing too.
Dr. West, Dr. George.